Hey, welcome back. I'm Amanda, and this is part 2 of my 3-part analysis of the video game Her Story. Before we continue, here is a really big spoiler warning for you. If you watched my last video, the damage is done, but if you haven't, well, you should go watch that now. Last time we talked about the significance of the game's title and the choice of the name Eve to the meaning of the story. Like Eve, Hannah shares much with her biblical namesake, but has a critically different fate in-game. In Judeo-Christian mythology, Hannah is Elkanah's first wife and his favorite of the two, but doesn't give him children. This upsets her, so she prays to God for a child and eventually is blessed by Eli, the high priest, with 6 children. In Her Story, Hannah falls in love with Simon before Eve does and doesn't want to share him. She marries him and gets pregnant by him, but has a miscarriage which renders her infertile. Yet she never receives a blessing, never bears him a child, and never lives the storybook life that sat just out of reach for her for so many years. Throughout the game, we hear of times that Hannah resented Eve. She once held her head underwater, considering drowning her before relenting and letting her breathe. Another time she hit her harder than she needed to, when imitating a bruise she got because of Eve's actions. It's even suggested that she tried to kill Eve before she was born, that Eve was never supposed to make it into the world. The song Eve plays for the detectives further underlines this ambivalent relationship. In that song, The Wind and the Rain, the older sister drowns the younger, prettier one because the man she loves is more infatuated with her. The younger sister is described as having long yellow hair. Since Eve wears a blonde wig when she performs as a musician, and is the one whose pregnancy is successful and who Simon eventually chooses, she can be read as the younger sister in the song. But instead of having her story told by a fiddle made of her body, which is kind of morbid, Eve tells her story herself. Both in the Bible and the song, Hannah's character competes with other women for a man's affection. But unlike in those stories, in Her Story and in the minigame in the recycle bin, player 2, or Eve, wins. The game offers an alternative to the cultural mythology about femininity and the role of women in society. Maybe obedient, shy, and innocent is not the natural or only way to be. Eve is Gnostic, confident, and even a little reckless, but she still wins Simon's heart. Of course, in the end, the Sisterhood is not really a rivalry at all. Instead, Eve's acceptance of her individuality gives her freedom, the autonomy to tell her own story. Thanks for watching. If you want more analysis, be sure to like the video and subscribe below. And keep your eyes open for part 3 of this series, in which I'll touch on other names in the game and talk about the importance of representation.